something you may or may not know about our filming location, but we're actually filming this in New England, outside, in November. It's cold. And another thing about New England is that we tend to have long, sometimes endless winters, which is what we're going to be unboxing today. So, let's go to the table and see what is in this box of Endless Winter Paleoamericans. All right, here is the Endless Winter Paleoamericans base game. You can see it's actually won some awards here. Put those up there. And on the back of the box, we have a really nice illustration of what a board setup might be like. And we have a itemized components list. So, let's open this up. And right away, this is actually a very sturdy box. They did not skimp on the production of the actual game box. And inside, we have a really nice kind of winter scene of this guy with this big, huge cleaver and this dude and these spears. So that's really a nice touch, very aesthetically pleasing. And then we are hit with a rule book. And right off the bat, this rule book is actually printed on you can hear it there. Really high quality, what's the word I'm looking for? Textured paper, there we go. And inside we have an overview and an illustrated itemized components list and setup, playing the game, lots of illustrations, action phase with illustrations, eclipse phase with illustrations, action columns, final scoring, variant setup, card abilities, sacred stone tiles, modules, and then we have on the very back page a in-depth iconography guide. So lots of icons here to learn, language of iconography on page 20. But if we actually flip back through and kind of go to final scoring, happens on page 15. So, and the components, but then the actual rules don't really start till page 4. So this will not actually be that bad to get through. We do also have a solo mode, independent rule book here with setup, playing the game, some more rules and final scoring. This is 8 pages, so it's kind of nice to have an independent rule book for solo play. Why not? Now we have a storage solution guide, which I always appreciate. There it is. Hopefully it actually works out well and is well thought out. We don't live in the Paleolithic era anymore. We live in the information microplastics nastiness age. But what that age did allow me to make was this cool spear thing. Probably not great for hunting woolly mammoths and whatnot, but really good for hitting my friends when I was a kid, because I had this sword that had this tiny little, it used to be more blade-like, and I would hit my friends with that, and after a while that broke. So I found this stick, and I put it on the end of this stick, and now I can hunt woolly mammoths and hit my friends with this. Maybe much better to play board games at my age, so I don't get some sort of weird disturbance call. Anywho, let's get back to the unboxing. And we just have a separator page. All right. Now, looks like we have some player boards. We have 4 player boards that are essentially single-sided, but just have the same nice kind of mountain range or mountain illustration on the back. And then on the front, they are, you can see very easily, very clearly, these are double-layered recessed boards, which places for probably cubes and a number of different tokens and other components here. And here's the second player board. So you can see clearly that the artwork is different. Now let's see if there are any other differences right off the bat. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like these player boards, other than the player artwork, the character artwork, are identical. And then we have another character here, you can see. And then a fourth player board with another person. And you can see pretty clearly that all four of these characters are either a character of color, a person of color, representing a person of color, or they are racially ambiguous. Thank goodness they didn't just do a bunch of white people. That would be nonsensical and historically quite inaccurate. So kudos to them for that. Next, where to go from here? Where to go? Let's go here. I'm gonna put this aside. And we have a whole bunch of really gorgeous wooden components here. Let's start with these little bags. Maybe. So in 4 different colors, or some of the 4 different players, we have little printed on one side only, a green, a purple, a yellow, and a red 100 token. So they're a little bit on the small side, but they are high quality wood and nice paint job. So we will figure out what they do at some point. Next, we have, these almost look like puzzle pieces. These are not printed, but they're painted wooden components. And you have 2 in each player color. I don't know if these are supposed to be birds or whatnot. Again, a little bit on the small side, but high quality. Next, we have different animals. So it looks like we have maybe a elephant here, a buffalo. It looks like so blue woolly mammoth, red buffalo, turquoise or seafoam fox, yellow tiger or bobcat or something, and then the purple bear. And they are printed on one side. Next we have, you can see in each of, silica gel, do not eat. We have player tokens in 4 different colors. Looks like you get 8 of each one, and you can see they are printed on one side. Don't really need to take these out right now. I'll take a few out. So for red, we have these eyes. For green or turquoise, we have these crossed arrows. For yellow, we have maybe a sun. And for purple, we have this kind of weird abstract box type squiggly swirly thing. So if we take these out, they're, like I said, printed on one side. And these are, a much better size for wooden components, I think. I have very large hands though. But these are they're light. They're not heavy wooden components, but these will work just fine. These are quite nice, much better than cardboard. And then you also have a 5th color here. I don't know if these are for solo mode or for some sort of automa, or figure that out, but then you have this kind of differently drawn sun or snowflake or something on these gray tiles as well, and you also get 8 of those printed on one side. Gonna have fun putting all these back in their baggies. Next, we have some really nice meeple type things, only they're not actual meeple casts. And you actually notice you get 2 of each, but I'm gonna take 4 away so it's easier to look at each one. And you'll actually notice that each one is a different wooden sculpt. And these are screen printed on both sides. But in the 4 different colors, you have 4 different wooden sculpts, which is a really, really nice touch, actually. I don't know if these are supposed to be hunters or settlers or something like that, but again, there are 2 of each in each of the 4 player colors. Next, bringing the bottom of the box back over, we have some blue cubes here, which I assume are cubes that fit into these player boards. Yeah. I don't know, I assume this is where they go. These are some other cubes that we'll find, but you can see these work just like that. I don't know if these are supposed to represent snowfall or something. Next, we have more silica gel. Do not eat, definitely don't put in your coffee. A whole bunch of, I don't know what the appropriate term to call these. I'll just call them tents, or settlement tokens. But it looks like you get 5 in each of the 4 player colors, yeah, for a total of 20. And these are really nice tokens as well. And here, now it looks like here they actually give you storage solutions with tops for the 4 different players. So I think different players will be able to store, once everything is taken apart and reassembled properly, you'll give each player one of these with associated cards and tokens, it seems like. And these are actually pretty nice quality. I mean, they're lighter plastic, but they're not super flimsy plastic. These will be just fine for player storage solutions. And I'm actually, since the cards are in here, I'm going to come back to everything here in 1 second, because there's more in the base of the box that I want to get to first. Oh, and at the base of the box we actually have this really nice woolly mammoth illustration. This game is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So we will come back to this tray here that I just set aside, but let's get this stuff out of its shrink first. Okay. So what we have here is it looks like a game board. On the back here first we have, so it's essentially single-sided, but it is printed with Endless Winter Paleoamericans here. They did not skimp on the art, that is for darn sure. And then we have this, looks like essentially a central game board, or a central tracker board at the very least, where you have a score track all around the outside that goes from 1 to 99, and actually says down here 0 to 100. And then you have tons of iconography here, and you have, looks like the 4 different maybe players are indicated here, and then you have some space for tokens, which I assume we'll find in these punch boards, which we'll get to in just a second. So, gorgeous game board. Again, can't tell you what the iconography means yet, but clearly a scoring track and places to play tokens and whatnot. Okay. So next, what we're hit with is 4 punch boards. And here we have single-sided, printed on both sides, but for play purposes, single-sided. Looks like a place for mini cards and some iconography. And then we're hit with a bunch of these token counters, which clearly we already saw places for them to go on that central scoring track, and then also you can clearly put some of these in these spaces. Maybe not these ones, but these ones fit in these spaces here in some sort of tableau or programming of some type that happens here. All right, and you'll see, I won't punch everything out right now, but you'll see you have many more of these different types of things in many of the punch boards. And then of course, we have all of these punchable hexagons, which create a modular game board. I'm like super excited about this, can you tell? I'm like into it. I'm like announcer level into it. And I'm punching out way more than I probably should right now. But you can see that they are printed on both sides, but for gameplay purposes, essentially single-sided printing. So what you're gonna do, Again, I don't know if this is how it is in the rules, but I kind of assume that you flip them all over in a stack like this, and then they get dealt out in one way or another. Again, total guess, or because that's just generally how these games go. But just to look at a few of these tiles. Nope, this one is, not sure what's going on there. Some iconography there. Got some of these tokens that are, gorgeous artwork, firewall, waterfall, and some stone areas, more waterfalls, forest area with snow on the evergreens. All right, and here we have even more tokens that go on player boards and whatnot, and then we have another large game board or tracking board, and this is double-sided in terms of gameplay, it looks like. Maybe one is for solo and one is for multiplayer. It's kind of my best guess. Again, I'm trying to determine if the different sides are different in terms of their iconography or not, and it doesn't appear so. So maybe they're, yeah, they seem to be kind of identical in terms of iconography and numbers. So maybe it's just two different sides, two different illustrations. So we'll have to figure that out. We are not anywhere close to done because we still have all of this. So, nice storage solution protective lid here. And here we have 4 kind of corner pieces. Dropping them. And lots of icons. And in kind of a grid with one 3x3 grid, but only 8 spaces with this corner missing. So, and they are different. They are all different. So who knows what these do? For gameplay purposes, they are printed on one side. Next, let's go over here. Okay, so clearly you have colored player rings for 4, but you have 5 different sculpts here. And by the way, these are very high quality plastic. Just picking up, I can tell you that right away. So you have this dude, it's got this little dog here. Got this dude. Putting my hand up is not going to help a whole lot because my skin tone is close to the tone of this plastic. And show these other 2. These are very nice characters. Now, just as a spot check, let's see how well these are hard plastic. Just a little spot check. Yeah, these fit on quite snugly, very easily, but also snugly, and pop off just as easily. Very nice. So here we have, it looks like 3 of each larger settlements, and these are plastic. So this is interesting because you've already seen a lot of wooden components in the other settlements and things like this, and now we're dealing with a lot of plastic components. And typically, I do not like mixing plastic with wooden components, and there's cardboard tokens as well, so we're actually mixing plastic, wood, and cardboard. I know a lot of games do it for different reasons and different ways. I don't mind really mixing cardboard with wood or cardboard with plastic as much, but mixing all 3, and especially mixing wooden tokens with plastic, kind of just, I don't like it in most cases. However, the plastic in this game is very high quality, so it actually might be okay. And it looks like all of these are the same sculpt. And they are. So there you go. Okay, so what we have left here is 4 decks of cards. Now, it looks like we have standard mini cards and then 3 decks of larger cards, which I can tell right away are not quite standard size in terms of ratio. They are a little bit thin, maybe a little bit tall, but definitely a little bit thin for standard size cards, so they will not fit in standard sleeves, which is an interesting choice. These look pretty close to standard mini cards if they're not perfectly standard. So, stand by as I just get these out of their shrink plastic real quick. We will be on our way into Winter Wonder Cardland. All right, so looks like we have a few different mini card types here. And here we have 4 miniature cards that are player aids. And the fact that they did player aids on smaller cards, bad choice, guys. These should have been full-size cards, or your full-size cards. Don't know why you did that. I say this is a minor complaint, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it is minor, but it's also not in terms of ableism, because there are many people who need to have larger print to be able to read cards, and just the fact that you having your player aids, you so easily could have made these be on this size card, just to be able to make the print larger for some people to be able to see. So the fact that you did this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Let's move on. Have some cards here with a bunch of different icons. Got some more cards here, okay, with some map things. Everything in this game has been so wonderful. This, again, I know I just ranted about this. I'm coming back to it because I'm just blown away by everything, the production of everything so far. This was stupid. These should have been full size. Everything else is amazing. This was so dumb. Oh, everything is so incredible in this box in terms of the production of these components and how beautiful they are and how they just kind of go together in terms of fitting very nicely in the player boards, the recessed player boards. I don't understand. I know I'm complaining about this for the 3rd time, but I don't understand why they had the small player aid cards on micro cards. Maybe I'm going to talk about that even more a little bit later in this video. No, I'm going to talk about it now. Something that I've become more and more aware of, and I appreciate that board game designers and publishers are becoming more and more aware of, is the critical importance of making board game components friendly to people who are otherwise abled in terms of needing larger print to be able to read appropriately, or for players who are colorblind in one way or another. I don't happen to be colorblind, and I don't happen to use reading glasses, not yet anyway. I happen to be nearsighted, but even I had a hard time reading the player aid instructions on the mini cards. But yeah, board game publishers, designers, make sure your iconography is well suited to people who have yellow, blue, or red, green color blindness. Make sure that your print is large enough for players who are 70 or 80 years old to read easily. As the community expands and becomes more diverse, we don't want our components, our board game components, to become a barrier to entry into the hobby. That's just silly. I understand the issues around like card sheets and print runs, and it could have been something as simple as there was space for player aid cards on the micro card sheet, mini card sheet, and not
enough space on the large print card sheet or card sheets to include larger cards, so you want to keep costs down. In that case, make your costs a little bit higher and eat those costs, or change your card ratios so you can have larger size player aid cards. Seriously. Let's finish this unboxing.
Okay. Got some woolly mammoths here, some iconography, bunch of different really cool animals. Really cool animals, stag moose, saber-toothed cat, bunch of iconography. And just going through these again, because you don't understand what all these iconography means yet, just giving a taste. And we have some crafters here, a whole bunch of crafters with seemingly essentially the same. And then we have a whole bunch of shaman. So a lot of repeat stuff here. Elders, looks like very basic deck building. Pathfinder. Pathfinder, Hunters, Tribesmen, Communal Feasts, Tribesmen, different cards here, Communal Feasts, Tribesmen, beautiful artwork. Just going through some stuff very quickly to gift you. You can obviously pause the video if you want to look at this for longer. Whole bunch of cards here. So we had a bunch of repeats, and those are probably like basic cards, and then this stuff maybe you can buy and put in your deck later. I'm kind of guessing that's generally how these types of deck building games work. So there's kind of like a very quick overview of the cards, and that is everything that comes in the base game of Endless Winter Paleoamericans.
So I know I went a little off the chain there, kind of hitting the game designers with the proverbial wooden plastic spear about player aid card size. And I definitely was doing that. But I want to end on a positive note because this game looks absolutely brilliant, absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really excited to play. I also want to mention that the publishers have also released at least 3 expansions for this game right away, which we actually will be unboxing on Corax and Coffee soon. I also want to mention this game is clearly not a Ameritrashy, like, run around and explore and, like, kill everyone else type of game. This very much is a Euro game despite the kind of Ameritrashy art style, which I think is kind of cool that you have Euro game elements with this artistic style. That is everything about I have to say about unboxing Endless Winter Paleoamericans.